So guys, that was David Lindley's Looks So Good. This is a very satisfying piece to play actually. It's got a great melody, lots of room to move rhythmically. It's a very free-form piece as well. We have a chance to practice some behind the slide playing. So let's have a look at the tuning. So we're in open E for this track today. So E, B, E, G sharp, B, and E. Open E. So if you're attuned to open D, the tab will work just fine. All the relationships between the strings are the same. You'll just sound obviously a whole tone flat. And if you're interested in this guitar and slide strings, the pedals I'm using today and the amplifier settings, I'll do a short summary at the end of the video. So do feel free to skip ahead if you're interested. Otherwise, let's have a look at the tab. So before we dig into the tab here, I just want to point out that the rhythm in this piece is very, very free form, very undemanding. It does allow you a lot of sort of freedom to find the natural rhythm. And I feel that when David himself played this, it does sound, there's a lot of pushing and pulling of the rhythm and a lot of space and breathing between phrases. And very, very expressive. So, I mean, you can kind of find your voice in this piece, I think. So with that in mind, when I go through the tab here, I'll just point out some of the things that I found difficult without really itemizing, especially the bottom notes, because you can sort of pick and choose which ones you want to play, and you can even alter the rhythm slightly. I did so myself, and basically playing it 2 times often resulted in sort of 2 quite different performances. So yeah, it is a very free piece, and you should approach it as such. Okay, so we're starting off the melody. Obviously you're going to be looking at the melody, so we need to sort of identify that and get that sounding good. So we're starting on the open first string, and we're going to be sliding from 2 to 4 to 7, something like this. So as I'm playing that first string, I'm just sort of muting out the second and third string, just so I can have a clean line there. I mean, if you angle the slide, you can sort of get away with not muting those strings, but a lot of the melody is on the second string and even the third string as well. So I think it's a good habit really just to sort of isolate the melody with the right hand, and how you do that will be different depending on your own preferences and experience. But so there we are, this is the start. I sort of fell into that rhythm quite a lot, this sort of octaves. Obviously in open E you've got your 3 E's, so I sort of fell into this. I sort of think that sounds quite nice. I mean, when David was playing it, he was kind of like, you can listen to it. It's very unpredictable and it changes a lot. So when I sort of talk about your artistic license, you do have it. So you know, whatever feels comfortable and whatever sits nicely under the fingers, just go with that. So here we are. And then we're sliding from 7 to 9. A little intonation check for you there. It's a nice thing to actually just practice just between any 2 notes. So 7, and then we play some of the roots again, whichever one you choose. You've got another one there on the 4th string, of course. And then we're going to be playing 7 to 9 on the 2nd string here. And I think on the record, in fact, it is played, which is 2 to 4. Obviously it's the same note, right? There's your 3rd there, and there's your 3rd there on the 9. I think this is possibly easier on the whole, but I elected to transcribe it up here just because of some of the other parts of the song where we go into the flat 6, the minor 6 here, And I just felt that it's easier to sort of conceptualize it around the 7 to 9. So do feel free to play it 2/4 if you like it there, but I'm going to suggest playing it. And as I do that, I'm just sort of landing on that first string to mute it as I land on and strike the second string. So, right, I've got to mute that first string out. And I guess that's one advantage of not going to the second string. You don't have to mute it, but it's just such an essential skill. I think it's worth practicing that. So. And then we go at the end of bar 3, we're playing the 7 on the second string, sliding down to the 5, and then now of course we're in the 4 chord here because in open E we have our chords just to point out the harmony, right? Chord 1, it's chord 4, chord 5, so there's your E, A major, B major, and then on this one we have our 6 as well. Oh, where are we? That's it there, yeah. Which is going to be our C sharp minor. So these are your 4 chords here. C sharp minor, B, A, and your E, your home. Okay, so there we are. We're on bar 1, 2, 3, 4. We're on the 4 chord. And then we're just sort of 5, 4, and then this is your melody here. So I'm sort of making an effort to sort of bring that to the 4, and then 4th string, 3rd string, and then I'm sort of muting everything as I land back on that 2nd string. So again. And that's our first phrase. So that takes us back to it's basically a repeat, right? The good thing about this song, it is really kind of 2 parts, and once you've got both of them, you're golden. So we'll just go into verse 2. I've written it on the tab, you can see that there. So again, the same, so 0, 2, 4, 7. And the variation could be the number of times you play that 7. It could be maybe the pattern with the bass. You can even get, if you're adventurous, you can even play the 3rd string there if you've got a slight angle on the slide as well. So we're going to be sliding up. And so there we are going to be playing behind the slide. Now this just takes a little bit of practice and a little bit of work to get this in the muscle memory, because we need to keep, as always, the slide very, very gentle, very, very gentle pressure, downward pressure on the strings, just sitting, and then at the same time have strong downward pressure on the first finger. So there's kind of a contrast there which takes some practice. And so we're going to be playing 7 on the 2nd string, 8 on the 3rd string, so right, and then we're going to be landing on the 9 with keeping our 2nd finger on the 8th fret of the 3rd string, because there's our flat 3 there, right, on the 8, major 3. You don't want to strike that, different tonality, so that's why we have to play it. A little bit awkward, but fine, you get used to it, right? And I'm using my 2nd finger there. You may want to use your 3rd. I just find it a bit tricky for me to do that and keep that gentle pressure on the slide. I find it easier just for this finger here to sort of just rest against the slide, even though it looks a bit awkward. And then I found it easier to come in here. So this is our bar. What bar is that? Oh, that font is about -1. Sorry about that, I just had to make the tab bigger. It was almost invisible. So if we just drop back into just bar rate, so we're just coming behind the slide here, 7, and then we're going to be coming down kind of gently if possible. Now, you won't be able to see this angle, but I'm actually kind of slightly slanting the slide away from the bottom and towards the top, just so I can make sure that the clearance is there for this third string. If I just really have a straight, super straight slide, particularly if it's not gently placed, then I'm going to get some of this. You can hear that, right? It sort of picks up the string on occasion. So I want to give it just a little bit more clearance so that sort of the elbow comes under. So just to ensure that I make sure that I pick up that string there. So there's the melody. And then from there we're going to be going to 7, and then 5, and then. So that is basically it. So we're going from here, where are we here? So when I play that there, I'm angling the slide in the opposite direction. I'm giving that sort of some this way, just so I can make sure these bottom notes are unaffected there. Okay, so that's the end of that phrase, and we're going to be going then what I've sort of labeled as the chorus. It's more of a bridge, but it's basically that C sharp minor part. So we come back up there and we basically land on the 8. And I play this just, the first time through it was just more of just sort of like. This time through, I'm trying to sort of bring out a little bit more character, so it's kind of like. You can see there. So as I'm doing that, just to go through what I'm trying to do here, so I'm sort of going. Sorry, where am I here? Yeah. The melody there, that's the 8, sort of sliding up those strings. Again, feathering those bass notes there. And again, this is one you can really sort of take your time and just sort of find the right rhythm, your sort of the natural rhythm. And then we do it again, repeat, so 7, and then. Play this lovely note here, which is a rather delicate B on the top there. 5, this first string, and then 2 to 4 again. So just one more time there. And that's the end of the chorus. So then we go into, just let me slide down here, what I've labeled as verse 3. And nothing new here, so I think we can sort of move through this quite quick. So, and then 7 to 9. And then we're going to the C sharp minor again. Lift off, revealing this root again, and we're still playing that with a slightly angled slide this way. And then we go back to chorus 2, which is again back up to the C sharp minor here. This is a bit hairy. And then basically repeat that. And then that's basically all. We're going into the last verse, which is our home straight. Nothing new there, we're just sort of choosing the rhythm, feathering those bottom notes, keeping the vibrato going. And then we're playing the same part that was at the start, which is. gentle, find that right pitch, and you can sort of decide how you finish it with the bottom strings. And that is it. It's a very, very pretty piece, very beautiful piece to play, very meditative to play actually, when you sort of find your own rhythm. And no doubt it won't be my rhythm, and it won't be the rhythm on the record either. You just sort of find it, and it's, I think, a very relaxing piece to play. So I do hope you enjoy it, and if you do have any problems, just drop me a line. I'm more than happy to try and help. Now I'm going to just, as promised, I'm going to show you what I had going on here today with the setup. All right, so let's just pause and do that. Actually, just I thought I might just talk about this guitar very quickly. This is a 1962 Harmony Rocket H53, just while I'm on camera still. This is one of those old Rowe Industries Diamond gold foils, and they are hot. They produce some output. Beautiful sound, I think. I mean, hopefully you agree. It's a very kind of fragile, raw sound, but it's got this sort of shimmer on the top end as well. And the setup, I'm not sure if you'll be able to see this through the power of, I was going to say grayscale video, but I've got quite good clearance on this. It's actually not exactly an easy guitar to play, and the reason for that is that it's so dynamic. Sometimes I'm playing, I really need to have an even pressure. If I want to try and bring a note out, sort of 10% more pressure with the right hand, sometimes very, very dynamic. And I was actually going to do a review of this guitar because I think some people may be interested, because it's kind of known as a slider, and I'd sort of want to just speak to that a little bit. So I might do a little bit more on that. But so this is it. Just obviously just got the one pickup, so nothing mysterious. Everything on full. Sometimes I actually had this volume backed off a little bit, but actually, as you'll see in a second, I've taken all my boosts and preamp pedals and OD pedals off, because this thing drives the amp quite well. So let's have a look at the amp. So here's the amp in question, guys. The Fender Princeton, you may have seen this before. So I've got about 4.5 on the volume. Treble is about 6.5. Bass about 3.5. Obviously this is kind of a neck pickup, so I can afford to dial that back a little bit. About 2.5 on the reverb. I've got no tremolo coming out of that. And if we go down and have a quick look at the pedals, I had to turn everything off because, as I said, the pickups are quite hot, so I was quite enjoying without it. But this EQ is tightening things up a little bit there. You can see about 900 cycles. I'm taking about 4 or 5 dB off. On the power EQ, very, very quiet, a very nice EQ. And this compressor's not working too hard. The mix is on about 40%. But I do find it kind of evened it out a little bit. And even though I'm holding the camera so I can't demonstrate it, but when I strike it really hard, I only get about maybe 2 dB of reduction. So it's not working very hard at all. Also, I've got the flat wound Tomastic strings 12 to 49 on this guitar. If you're interested in the flat wounds, I'm sure you can probably hear that. And then finally I'm using this guy here, the Capta X, which I do like. So this is a virtual it's a virtual speaker you're hearing. This is a loader, reactive load box, virtual cabinet, attenuator, sort of combination thing, kind of like the Ox box, but sort of half price. So that's the setup today, guys. And finally, if I can show you, this is the Diamond Slides. What is this? This is, I think it's the Red House, basically made from a bottle, but it's got a nice taper. I did a long, slightly boring video on slides you may have seen, and this was kind of the pick of the bunch. The diamond bottles to bottle slides, so bottlenecks, is it? I always get the name wrong. But anyway, it's Ian over in England. Great guy. All right, that's all. Thanks, guys. Thanks so much. And any questions, drop me a line. Until then, thanks for watching and see you on the next one.